Welcome dear audience, student and scholars. Here I am Dr. Amjad. Dear scholars, so far as we have discussed about the stabilization policy and we have decided should stabilization policy be active or passive. In this video we are going to discuss mistakes in forecasting. Introduction. Light showers, bright intervals, and moderate winds. This was the forecast offered by the renowned British National Weather Service on October 14, 1987. The next day, Britain was hit by its worst storm in more than 2 centuries. Like weather forecasts, economic forecasts are a crucial input to private and public decision making. Business executives rely on economic forecasts when deciding how much to produce and how much to invest in plant and equipment. Government policymakers also rely on forecasts when developing economic policies. Unfortunately, like weather forecasts, economic forecasts are far from precise. So let's see here some of the historical review related to the mistakes in forecasting. Historical review. The most severe economic downturn in US history, the Great Depression of 1930s, caught economic forecasters completely by surprise. Even after the stock market crash of 1929, they remained confident that the economy would not suffer a substantial setback. In the late 1931, when the economy was clearly in bad shape, the eminent economist Irving Fisher predicted that it would recover quickly. Subsequent events showed that these forecasts were much too optimistic. The unemployment rate continued to rise until 1933 and it remained elevated for the rest of the decade. So here we have some of the historical data related to the mistakes of the forecasting. For this purpose, we are going to give you the historical review for the mistakes in forecasting. Here we have a graphical presentation for this purpose, forecasting the recession of 1982. Okay, here the red line shows the actual unemployment rate from the first quarter of 1980 to the first quarter of 1986. The green line here shows the unemployment rate predicted at 6 point in time. The second quarter of 1981. The fourth quarter of 1981, the second quarter of 1982, and so on. For each forecast, this symbol marks the current unemployment rate and the forecast for the subsequent 5 quarters. Notice that forecasters fail to predict both the rapid rise in unemployment rate and subsequent decline in unemployment rate. So see here we have a sharp rise and then we have a sharp decline in unemployment. So this figure shows that how economic forecasters did during the recession of 1982, one of the most severe economic downturns in the United States in the Great Depression. This figure shows that the actual unemployment rate, which we have presented with the red line, and 6 attempt to predict for the following 5 quarters. So here we have the 6 predictions: 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6 for the subsequent 5 quarters. Okay, you can see that the forecasters did well when predicting unemployment 1 quarter ahead. The more distinct forecasts, however, were often inaccurate. For example, in the second quarter of 1981, forecasters were predicting little change in unemployment rate over the next 5 quarters, yet only 2 quarters later unemployment began to rise sharply. So see, here we have a sharp rise in unemployment. The rise in unemployment to almost 11% in fourth quarter of 1982. This will surprise the forecasters. After the depth of the recession became apparent, the forecasters failed to predict how rapidly the subsequent decline in unemployment would be. Okay, the story of economic downturn. The story of economic downturn is much same for the economic downturn of 2008. Okay, the November 2007 survey of the professional forecaster predicted a slowdown, but only a modest one. The US unemployment rate was projected to increase from 4.7% in the fourth quarter of 2007 to 5% in the fourth quarter of 2008. By the May 2008 survey, the forecaster had raised their projections or predictions for unemployment at the end of the year, but only to 5.5%. In fact, unemployment rate was 6.9% in the last quarter of 2008. Okay, while the further explanation related to the story of economic downturn, these episodes, the Great Depression, the Recession and recovery of 1982 and the recent economic downturn of 2008 show that many of the most dramatic economic events are unpredictable. Although private and public decision makers have little choice but to rely on economic forecasts, they must always keep in mind that these forecasts come with a large margin of error. This is all about the mistakes related to the forecasting. So see you with another video. Ciao.